Hi everyone, my name is Michele Kemp and I was raised in a phonetic religious cult by the name of the Disciples of the Lord Jesus Christ in central Wisconsin. It is not called that anymore. The cult is still intact, but it doesn't go by a name anymore. The leader used to be called Rama Behera, but he goes by Abraham Cohen, and he lives in Aldie, Virginia. But the cult's main headquarters is still in Shawano, Wisconsin, and my mother is still involved in the cult. I am going to be 48 years old, and I am just now dealing with the aftershock of my life of trauma. I did leave the cult when I was 18. I left, but just because you leave doesn't mean you're free. I am just now becoming free. And as I have gone public and shared my story, I have lost a lot of support. So I am very, very thankful to all of you viewers who have reached out and lent me your support, because it has meant the world to me. Today, I want to read something from my journal that I wrote on March 2nd of this year. As I go through this whole process of regaining memories and processing them, I write down the memories and how I feel as I'm processing them. And most of my children are adults now, so I'm free to process things that I've not been able to process before. And this is just some of the things, so just bear with me here. I have spent the last 48 hours spilling facial fluids. My sleep has been punctuated with the flashbacks of my life, particularly my later teenage and very early adult life. The massive and complete obliteration of my heart, soul, mind, and self happened within a few short months, and I have been paying for the ramifications of it ever since, compounding one tragedy upon another, one terrible choice with another, suffering the consequences of each trial over and over. Additionally, I'm reflecting on the fingernail-biting ways I dragged myself away from the depths of suicide more times than I can remember, all because I believed nobody loved me, nobody cared, and I was a bent, rusty, and useless tool. I dealt with this misery solo, out of fear that my children would be taken from me. I never once uttered that I was suicidal. Not once. My body quakes inside and out. My thoughts are swirling like leaves in the wind in my skull. I'm remembering my exit from the cult. I was a feral child. I had not been parented. I went out into the world. No mom, no dad, sisters, brothers, or friends. I endured tragedy by myself. I was terrified, horrified, riddled with guilt, shame, fear, and the number of humans I could trust amounted to nil. This event has haunted me for years. The first 20 years or so due to disgrace, sin, and fear, and then more due to an impenetrable sorrow. I was 18 years old. I was an emancipated adult by society's standards. I had just left the cult, so to speak, but I was far from its rigid grasp on me. I had only escaped having to wear my hair long and in a bun every day, wearing ankle-length skirts and blouses, and going to the main compound in Shawano every weekend. Everything else was still raging and full steam ahead. I was exceedingly programmed the way Rama wanted me to think and believe. I maintained that Rama was a man of God, and I still accepted most of his teachings. I still esteemed Rama's opinions and advice, and I cared passionately about what he thought and said about me. Thereby, I was immobilized, enraptured, and under the influence of Rama, the cult, its teachings, preachings, specifically the rewards versus consequences of sin, the fire and brimstone theology. Just because I left at 18 didn't mean I had miraculously succeeded in becoming free from the shackles of mind control, the mind-fucking, emotional, and mental abuse, and the ramifications of being told I was a piece of shit my whole life. Furthermore, I was petrified of Rama ordering my mother to disown me, so I was caught in a pressure cooker of life, of riding the fence, in order to keep Rama appeased, and therefore my mother in my life. Dwelling on what I've gathered recently, the conclusions that I have disassembled, my adrenaline is pumping with no sign of burn-off. All that my body can respond with is tears. If I could turn myself inside out, all that could be viewed is a heart that drum beats the signal that I am still in fact among the living, while simultaneously shards of disorienting fragments leave me in a symphony of pain, my heart screaming, the other parts answering with agony of their own. My chest heaves and shudders with every agitated breath I take, and as I behold my body from an angel's view, I yield to the truth. The blast feels palpable. I swear, a cantankerous longhorn just kicked me in the gut, stepping on my face in its bulrush, leaving every bone splintered. I am unrecognizable. There is no remedy. There is no cure. This sorrow I bear alone. At best, the endless waves of anguish that crash upon me while the rest of the world goes on, and only God knows why. And then I have a postscript that says, by the time I was 7 years old, I had witnessed Rama order my parents to disown my older siblings. My mother, to date, has spoken to my oldest sister in 30 plus years, hasn't spoken to my oldest sister in 30 plus years. My grandmother lived to be 103, almost 104 years old, and she died having spoken to her oldest child in 45 years. Currently, Rama has instructed my mother to have nothing to do with any of her 7 children, and has instilled in my mom a tremendous fear of us, wherein my mom refuses our visits, assistance, and love.